And here we go. I am Rocco's Most D, 1/4 of Chimera Team Gaming, and today we will be talking Bannerlord. But before we continue, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button as it does help us grow, and stay tuned into the channel for more news and reviews. So I've been playing Bannerlord for about 3 months now, and I must admit it is one of the most addictive games I have played, RPG sandbox style, and I hope that from this review you guys would actually take a chance on it. So right out the onset, I am going to let you know it is a worth getting title. It is now on early access in Steam, and you'll be able to enjoy it as much as I have. So the world that we're in on Bannerlord, it's called Calradia. It is inhabited by 8 major factions, which are the Northern Empire, the Southern Empire, the Western Empire, Battania, Vlandia, Sturgia, Azerite, and the Kusite Khanate. There are other minor factions, but I will not name them all for the sake of brevity, yet they do also play an integral part in the balance of power in Calradia. The game does have some decent customization at the beginning, so you can start to build your character, your Bannerlord, your avatar for the conquering of Calradia. From picking male or female, size, height, the gender, including the background of your character that's going to kind of give the backdrop to the story that you're going to be engaging on. These things are not, in my opinion, the highlight of the game, but it does add a nice touch to what you will be seeing as you progress throughout the game. Once you have finished your character, you will encounter a tutorial that will help you immerse into the story of the game, which in my opinion, again from the impression so far, being that it's in early access, it's not the main seller of the game, but it does add a different flavor if you want to play like a single story mode. Once you get past this tutorial, that is when it actually becomes very clear that the world is very open. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't give you many instructions on what to do next. Though the story does give you some quest items that you need to follow through, you can just deviate from that and continue to go on your own path to create the Bannerlord that you want, play the way that you want. And I think that is one of the biggest things that I found in the lore to this game, that though I could follow the main story quest, it was just an open world for me to dive into and become this avatar of magnitude, a raider, a trader, a warmonger, a looter, anything I really wanted to. Bannerlord provides the replayability because of all these roles that you can take don't have to tie in to the main story. Matter of fact, you are creating the story as you go, one action at a time. To break away from the story and touch on the combat system, it is actually very simple yet very rewarding. There is block, there is attack, there are different types of attack depending on the direction that you choose. Your mouse or controller, which it does have limited controller support at the minute in early access, but you have different angles of attack and different angles that you can block with. There's spears, maces, long swords, two-handed swords, two-handed pole arms, single-handed pole arms, crossbows, bow and arrow, throwing knives. I mean, there is a variety of weapons in your arsenal that you can add to the devastation that you're about to bring on Calradia. And I think that though being simple, it is one of the major reasons why people play Bannerlord, because it is an expansive combat style action, which your stats do matter because it is an RPG, but it's not as complicated nor shallow that you will find a detriment in engaging in the combat system. From the combat system, something that ties into, let's talk about overall progression and level scaling. It's akin to Skyrim, where performing actions such as running, riding a horse, shooting your bow, attacking enemies, even just looting or having bandits in your party will affect how you progress in certain areas. There are several areas to progress on, so you can even start as just being a trader and your skills will go up on the trading as you trade and make profits, or you can just go purely combat and just be a warlord of sorts and do your one-handed, two-handed, your pole arms, and just level up by using those. Now, there are skill points that you have to attribute to yourself to be able to make that progression faster. And there are levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the Skyrim leveling system, by actually performing a faction, adds a different feel and touch to the game that makes it at any point you can switch from doing one thing to another. And it's rewarding. I have not reached a point where I'm able to do everything proficiently, but I could do everything. It just takes time, and that's also another allure of why the sandbox, do whatever you want world really is appealing to me when I play this game. As you also go through world, you will also encounter relationships that you have to manage, not just your skills. You have to, which charisma, which does impact your relationship management, is a skill. It is also going to become a skill which factions you interact with and how you deal with them on a moment to moment basis. How you deal with some of the Aserai lords, and how do you deal with some of the Western Empire lords, and whose side are you going to pick? How are you going to deal with the minor factions? All these things matter in the world, so it's very intricate, and that's just as intricate as the trading system and the economy of the game and the game world of Calradia. You can't just sell and buy in one area because you're going to inflate or deflate the economy, and at the same time you're going to harm or help those relationships that you're managing with those certain kingdoms or minor factions. So that also adds levels of intricacy to the game that I think people will enjoy. The game can be just as simple as you fighting, you winning castles, but it gets much deeper than that once you actually dive into the game and explore all the relationships you can have from the villages, the towns, the castles that are in the world of Calradia. Once you've finished all that and you actually just focus on the battles, this is, I think, where the meat and potatoes of the game are. The battle system in this game, the way that you feel that there are armies of 500, 1,000, and you engage in warfare in the terrain of Bannerlord, you will start to feel like it is medieval times. I mean, that is, to put it simply, it's majestic. Watching a cavalry charge into archers, or spearmen stopping the cavalry charge, or archers unloading on your troops if you don't use a shield wall and cover. Which, let me add, the tactics, though simple, can be implemented again in very complex ways. So the game combat system that I already spoke on, and the way that it's portrayed on the battlefield in real time, it's fantastic. I think you would have, like I did, hours upon hours of just finding people to fight, if anything else, just because it's so enjoyable. And if you put it on realistic, you can also put it on easy. There's different levels that you can put it on, but if you put it on realistic, you'll feel the tension and the weight of the battle on you as you're playing and on your troops. It's fantastic. I mean, this is one of the major reasons why I always love the Bannerlord IP. It's because when you are actually fighting wars, it looks like what you would imagine medieval times would look like. And as you can see from some of the footage that I have here playing in the background, I mean, it's just fun. You can either be on a horse, you can get off your horse, you can be an archer, you can be a spearman, you can be a swordsman. Overall, sometimes you try to have like nice aligned tactical warfare, but at the end of the day, unless you're super elite at the controls, it's going to end up in a battlefield of chaos. And to me, that's actually fantastic, because that's what I always pictured medieval times to be, is a battlefield of chaos. So to finish it off, my first impressions of 3 months of playing the game. I know it's funny saying first impressions of 3 months. It's that it's worth try, like I told you in the beginning. If you're watching this video, if you like Bannerlord, give it a go. And this is only that I had the impression on the single player version of the game. There is a multiplayer where it has a thriving community. And just like in that thriving community. There's a modding community, so if you want to add a different flavor to Bannerlord, there's mods you can add where your children grow up faster, where it has a completely different layout of the land, where there's different troops. The game is uniquely sandbox, uniquely RPG style action combat, real-time combat. Once you actually get into combat, it's a great world, it's a great game, and I am giving this game, if I was to rate it on an impression so far, it's not the finished product, I would give it an 8 out of 10. And the only reason I'm taking 2 points off is because it's just not finished. And there's bugs and things that it needs to get through. But I'm having such a great time playing this game, and I hope you do too. So on behalf of Chimera Gaming, where we let our passion for gaming become a three-headed beast, I hope you take a look at Mountain Blade Bannerlord and enjoy it as much as I did. The game is in early access again, but I don't think it should stop anyone from actually attempting to dive into this game. Rocco's Most D, I'm out.